We begin in the Middle East, where Israel says air defence systems have intercepted a Hezbollah missile in Tel Aviv. Let's take you to the live shot which shows the city. Warning sirens have been sounding in the last few hours there. Hezbollah says it launched a rocket targeting the Mossad headquarters in what seems to be the first time Hezbollah has targeted the city. Hezbollah said Mossad headquarters, which is the Israeli Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, is responsible for the assassination of senior Hezbollah leaders and for blowing up pagers and wireless devices. Well, Tel Aviv is more than 200 kilometres away from the Lebanon border. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has delayed his departure to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Well, let's now show you these images. Now, these were taken on someone's phone out of their window, and it shows the missile just after it was intercepted by Israeli air defence systems. Well, the Israeli military said they intercepted it after it was detected crossing from Lebanon. All of this comes as Israel and Hezbollah continue to exchange heavy cross-border fire overnight, defying calls from world leaders to immediately de-escalate. The Lebanese government's called on America for help to end a wave of Israeli assaults, the deadliest bombardment the country has seen in decades. While health authorities there say 569 people, including many children, have been killed since Monday. Hezbollah continues to launch rockets in the other direction. The purple dots on this map here show where those rockets landed. Israel's airstrikes within Lebanon are marked here too in red. Well, let's go straight to our Middle East correspondent Yolande Knell, who joins us live from Jerusalem. What reaction have you had where you are to this strike which was targeting Tel Aviv?
I mean, it's really been a reaction from Tel Aviv where people were sent into a panic. They had to rush to their bomb shelters as these rocket warning sirens went off. And it's known that Hezbollah does have these longer range rockets, but up to now it hadn't used them to target the center of the country. So this is being seen as an escalation. At the same time, it was a single rocket that was fired, and Hezbollah would know very well that Israel does have this sophisticated, multi-layered air defense system. So this rocket was intercepted without causing any casualties, without causing any damage. We've had a briefing from the Israeli military that's confirmed this was the furthest that a rocket fired by Hezbollah has ever penetrated inside Israel. But at the same time, they're saying this was a heavy warhead and it could have gone even further into Israeli territory. They're denying that this would have hit Mossad headquarters, saying that it was a civilian area that came under attack. And they're also saying that it was fired from quite deep inside Lebanon, not close to the border, and they say they have already hit the launch site.
OK, Yolande Knell, thank you very much. Let's take you back to the scene live in Tel Aviv. The live scene in Beirut. Apologies, pictures there of Beirut. And of course, this all comes as we have seen Israeli strikes targeting the city in the last few days. The Lebanese Health Ministry saying that more than 560 people, including 50 children, have been killed in those Israeli strikes. And of course, this morning, we're also reporting that missile which was sent by Hezbollah towards Tel Aviv, intercepted by Israeli air defences. Well, let's go straight to Beirut. You can see the shot there, but let's now speak to Michael Doueihi. He's a member of the Lebanese Parliament for the Change movement. Welcome to BBC News. What is an incredibly busy time for you, I am sure. We've been hearing that the Lebanese government is calling on the US to do more to try and de-escalate. What exactly is the government asking the US to do in specific terms?
I think the government is in a place, first of all, thank you for having me. I think the government is in a very delicate place because this government we have today is not neutral in the sense that it is pro-Hezbollah. What we need to do immediately is to have a ceasefire, and that is immediate, because obviously this war cannot continue like that. A lot of civilians are dying. The atrocities are unbelievable, and we need to stop this war. We need to ceasefire immediately, and because we need that, And this is the most important thing. We need the implementation of the 1701. There is a UN resolution because it calls for all parties to cease fire and to implement it. The most important thing for us as member of parliament today is to elect a president, because we need to go back to the institutions. Today, Lebanon is going through a war, obviously, but at the same time, we don't have a president. We have a caretaker government that has taken the vote of confidence from the previous government. So we are in a big, massive constitutional mess. So we need to get back that line back on track, in the sense that electing a president, forming a new government that will negotiate a ceasefire and implement the 1701 and end this war. This is an urgent thing. This is the most important thing we have to do now.
Can I just pick up on something you said in that first answer? You're accusing the Lebanese government of being pro-Hezbollah, but I mean, they've distanced themselves from Hezbollah.
I mean, they have no legitimacy. I mean, we're gonna back them if we have to, because this is the only government we have. But again, they have no political legitimacy. They don't represent the current political movement in the parliament we have today. So we probably have no choice but to back them, pending they do the right thing. This is the most important thing right now. So this is why we have fought as not only as Shape Movement MP, but also as the wider opposition. We have asked the Speaker of the House to call for a session so that we, Lebanese representatives in Parliament, we design a way out from this war. We need the backing of all the Lebanese people to end this war. Not the government cannot do it alone. Hezbollah obviously cannot do it alone. We need to go back to the institution. This is the right calling. This is the absolute right move to make today, to go back to the institutions. If you cannot elect a president ASAP, we have to go back to parliament. This is the only legitimate institution we have today to back the government to end the war. We need a ceasefire ASAP. Lebanon cannot afford to have this war anymore. Lebanon is in a catastrophic...
I just want to come in and ask you one more question, because unfortunately we don't have too much longer with you.
Sure.
I guess some people watching this interview might say that now perhaps isn't the time to be having political infighting within the Lebanese government, and actually for all the different views in Parliament to come together at a time of crisis for the country, not just in terms of the ongoing security situation, but economically as well.
Exactly. We need economic reform. We need a reconstruction design plan. Lebanon is in need of so many reforms, but at the moment we need to stop the war, to have a ceasefire. But this government is not really legitimate, right? It's a caretaker government. We need, in case we cannot have elected president and a new government, a new sort of emergency government, right? We have to go back to parliament to back this government, although we don't like it, because we need the priority now is to stop the war and to have a ceasefire. This is why we have called the Speaker of the House to call for a session so that we can actually give this government sort of a roadmap to end the war through negotiations. We need all the international community, the regional player, to help Lebanon avoid and stop this war. This is a crucial thing. This is the most important thing. This is the message today, right?
Okay.
Going back to the institution to save the country. Thanks.
Michel Doueihi, thank you very much. Sorry to stop you there. We ran out of time, but do appreciate you sharing all of your thoughts from your perspective there in Beirut. Well, let's stay in Beirut and let's go now to my colleague, our Middle East correspondent based in Beirut, Hugo Bashega. Hugo, first of all, just listening to that interview, where is the Lebanese government's thinking and posturing at the moment? We know that they're asking for more American help.
Yeah, they are in a very difficult position because Hezbollah is this powerful militia but also political movement supported by Iran that acts as a state within the state, but it has, representation in parliament. It is part of the government, and the government has very little say over what Hezbollah does, and we're seeing now that a lot of people who oppose Hezbollah, who are critics of Hezbollah, they've been saying that these attacks by Hezbollah are dragging Lebanon into a conflict that is not in the country's interest, and so this is obviously a very difficult position for the government. And don't forget that Lebanon has been struggling for years from an economic crisis, from the explosion of the port here in Beirut in 20 2020, a political crisis as well. There hasn't been a president for almost 2 years because of these political divisions. So obviously, very difficult situation for the Lebanese authorities. And we're seeing now that they are urging the United States to get involved and to try to de-escalate the situation here. I think it was very interesting that the Lebanese foreign minister, who is in New York, he urged the Biden administration to urge a de-escalation in these hostilities, saying that Washington has the key for the country's survival.
Yeah, and what's interesting as well is you're hearing the Lebanese foreign minister and other government officials calling on the US to do more, Hugo, but then you hear from others, including the Israelis, calling on the Lebanese government to do more to control, in their mind, these strikes from Hezbollah.
Exactly. And again, I mean, as we've been saying since these attacks by Hezbollah started almost a year ago, this is a group that is in many ways much more powerful than the Lebanese army. They have, a huge arsenal of weapons with tens of thousands of rockets and missiles, including precision-guided missiles that can strike deep inside Israel. And they have their own strategy, they have their own goals. They say that they are supporting Palestinians in Gaza with these attacks, and they have been defiant. They say that despite these attacks that we've seen in the last few days, that this campaign against Israel is going to continue unless there is a ceasefire in Gaza. So very difficult situation for the Lebanese government, because they're sort of caught in the middle between Israel and Hezbollah. But at the same time, it's very difficult to see how Hezbollah is going to back away from this, because they tied themselves to the situation in Gaza. And I think we're not seeing any possibility of any kind of deal for a ceasefire in Gaza.
OK, Hugo Bishega, thank you very much for bringing us the latest from Beirut. We will stay with developments and Hugo throughout the morning here on BBC News. Some breaking news coming into us, though, just now, and that is that the Israeli military says that it is currently conducting extensive strikes in the south of Lebanon and the Bekaa area. So this morning, of course, we heard those sirens ringing out across Tel Aviv and central Israel as Hezbollah fired a missile, we understand, from Lebanon towards the Israeli city. That missile intercepted by Israel defense systems. And now we're hearing that the Israeli military is saying it's currently conducting extensive strikes in Lebanon. It does sound like the activity is continuing on despite all those calls, including from the UN General Assembly, for tensions to de-escalate.